Hi folks, today we're going to talk about relationship tsunami. Mental health. Mental health is never just one thing. It is a tidal wave that gains momentum over time, folks. And how do I know that? Well, I grew up in the grounds of a psychiatric hospital. My parents were both psychiatric nurses, and I worked as a nurse for 13 years, working with thousands of people with serious physical issues. And what I used to do was track back the timeline to find out where the stress came from. And there's a very predictable pattern. So it always starts, all mental health starts with your relationship with you. And then it's affected by your parents. So if your parents' dynamic's wrong, they might feed you with stuff, you might start taking on their beliefs, their energy. You want to heal them. So you end up becoming a little bit like them. And that's the zone where your parents do behaviors to you that you hate, and you find out you're doing them like 20, 30, 40 years later. And you think, oh, I've become my parents. There's a reason for that. So then it accumulates. People end up in jobs or relationships where they don't necessarily love the other person or the job. And they might love the other person and hate the job, in which case they'll take that stress home, and like a virus, it will infect the relationship. And the same deal, you might be in a toxic relationship and have a job that you really like, but then you'll bring that energy to work, and that will become toxic at work. And this is a big problem at work, work-related stress. People that don't love themselves enough, that have poor relationship dynamics with family, that then end up in poor relationships themselves and then bring that to work. So these two areas affect each other. That's very, very common with mental health. Now, if that's left unmanaged long enough, it will lead to sleep issues and weight issues. And then if that's left unmanaged long enough, it'll lead to things like hypertension, diabetes, which are more serious. And then even more serious than that, palpitations and angina, short stabbing pains. And if they're left unmanaged, they're the late warning symptoms that will always lead to a stroke, heart attack, or cancer. And I've seen this progression thousands of times. So it's never just one thing. Mental health is a result, and it always manifests into physical symptoms if left unchecked for long enough. And what I do is I help find out where people are, and then we start unlocking the stress issues to avert the crisis down the line. So with things like sleep issues and weight issues, it's late enough in the day for you to know that you've got something going on, but it's early enough to avoid a real crisis. And that is the area that I operate in. And if you'd like to find out a little bit more about that, then get in touch with me. If you've got any questions, leave them on this thread. Let's have a chat about mental health. Because one of the biggest problems that I found is people just don't talk about this stuff. So there you go. There's my little insight for the day. I hope it helps you, and I hope you have a wonderful week.